This class is about the buffing steps. Before learning the buffing steps, I would first like to discuss the service name. You have to always make sure that you call the service by the correct name. Don't use wrong terminology. So the service of nail extensions cannot be called fake nails. It is supposed to be called artificial nails or nail enhancements or nail extensions. And you always call your own nail as natural nail. Don't refer it as real name. So these are the two important things that you need to keep in mind, that you either call it artificial nails or you call it nail enhancements, and for your own nail you always refer it to as natural nails. Then we have to also know the finger names. The fingers have their own names. We will refer to the fingers name by the actual name it is supposed to be referred to. We start with the little finger. It is actually not called little finger, it's called pinky finger. The next one is the ring finger. This is the middle finger, index finger and thumb. We always start our service from pinky finger to thumb finger. Now we are learning the buffing steps. We have 4 buffing steps. Whenever you start buffing, you have to make sure that you hold the finger tight of the client with your index finger and your thumb finger. You have to make sure that you don't cut the skin of the client. Step 1. You will take your buffer and with your index and thumb you will hold it straight like this with your 3 fingers behind, and you go in a straight motion from side to side. You will do both the sides. You will keep the buffer absolutely straight. It has to be in line with the cuticles. Don't narrow down the extension. Always keep the buffer straight. Unless and until you are going to have round extensions. If it is square extensions, you have to make sure that the finger is straight. Step 2. We are going to work around the cuticles and on the sides, right side of the nail. So we are going to work on the right cuticle and the right length. So we hold the buffer with the index finger, 3 fingers behind, and we start from the center and we go towards the right. We work first with the edge of the buffer so we can work around the cuticle. We angle the buffer around the cuticle and turn around the cuticle to remove any excess product. You make sure you're moving your wrist when you're working around the cuticle. You always go from center to right. Center to right. Once you have finished working on the cuticle, you will put the buffer flat and work again from center to right for the right length. Make sure you're moving your wrist in order to get the right motion. Don't slide the buffer like that in an angled way. Always make sure you turn your wrist and go in a half circular motion. Now we are going to do step 3. We are going to work on the left side of the nail, wherein you hold the buffer again with your index and thumb, and you work completely with the entire length of the buffer. Put your 3 fingers behind and start from the beginning of the buffer. Place the buffer straight parallel to the finger. Go straight. When your buffer reaches half the length, turn around the left length. So you're working on the left cuticle. Again, make sure you're turning your wrist. Then you work on the left length after you have done. Make sure that you hold the buffer right from behind and not from the center. This is holding the buffer from the center. This is not supposed to be done because your buffer will slip when you turn it around the left cuticle. So you hold it with your index and your thumb and with your 3 fingers pressed behind, and start from the end of the buffer and go all the way around and turn around the left cuticle. Again, to do this left length, just go in a slant way of buffing. Just slant the buffer and go along the left length. And the last step is go in a back and forth motion. This step can be done wherever the product is thick. There is no specific area where you need to buff the nail with this step. You can buff with this step wherever the product is thick. You don't have to jump, you have to go in a swift long motion. Don't lift the buffer too much. So now we do all the 4 steps together. First is the sides. Step 2 is the right cuticle and the right length. Step 3 is left cuticle and left length. And the last one is the back and forth motion, which can be done on any part of the nail. Although in TikTok extensions you don't require to do buffing, but you will require to do buffing if you're doing refills or if you're doing a nail prep. Dummy hand till you perfect the steps of buffing.